She betrayed everything I had and everything she had just drove off. I'm Brady Matthews, 42 years old, and apparently dumber than a box of hammers when it comes to reading the signs my wife was throwing around like confetti at a divorce party. But I'm getting ahead of myself. It started 8 months ago when Rachel announced her brilliant new self-care plan. Girls' wellness retreats, she called them, standing in our lakeside kitchen with that plastic smile she'd perfected during her real estate training seminars. It's just me, Ashley, and Nicole from college, she said, arranging organic kale like she was preparing for a magazine shoot. We're going to reconnect with nature, do some digital detoxing, maybe try that new hiking trail up near Marble Falls. I should have asked more questions, should have wondered why a woman who complained about walking to the mailbox suddenly developed a passion for wilderness adventures. Should have noticed that her hiking boots never got dirty, or that she came back from camping trips with professionally manicured nails. Instead, I nodded like the good husband I thought I was and helped carry her designer camping gear to her BMW. That was mistake number 1. Mistake number 2 was believing her when she said blocking my number was necessary for the full digital detox experience. You understand, right, Brady? No phones, no distractions, just pure connection with ourselves and each other. I'll unblock you the moment I get back Sunday night. The way she emphasized digital detox made my skin crawl, but I chalked it up to paranoia. After all, this was Rachel, the woman who color coordinated our towel closet and sent thank you cards for thank you cards. She wasn't the cheating type, or so I thought. I work construction management for luxury lakeside properties around Austin. 16-hour days dealing with subcontractors, building inspectors, and wealthy clients who change their minds like Texas weather. My side business restoring vintage boats at the marina keeps me busy most weekends. Point being, I'm not home much to notice what's happening under my own roof. The first crack in my delusion came on a Tuesday evening. I was in the garage working on a 1968 Chris Craft Constellation, the kind of honest craftsmanship that still made sense in this world, when our neighbor Drew called through the fence. "Hey Brady, Rachel back from her spa weekend yet?" I dropped my wrench. It clattered against the concrete floor like a gunshot. Spa weekend? Yeah, saw her loading up Sunday morning. That fancy luggage set, the one with wheels, didn't look much like camping gear to me. Drew's a retired cop who notices everything and forgets nothing. The kind of guy who still checks his perimeter before bed and knows which neighbors are having affairs before they do. Must have upgraded their accommodations, I said, but my voice sounded hollow even to me. Brady, I've been watching this neighborhood for 15 years. Your wife's been taking those same trips every month for the past 8 months. Always alone, always with that expensive luggage, always comes back looking like she spent the weekend at some 5-star resort instead of roughing it in the wilderness. That hit me like a sledgehammer to the chest. Drew wasn't the type to gossip unless he was certain about his facts. You sure about the timing? Dead certain. First Friday of every month, regular as clockwork. Leaves around noon, comes back Sunday evening. I started noticing because she always parks her car funny when she comes back, like she's trying to avoid the streetlight. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling while Rachel slept peacefully beside me, her phone charged on the nightstand, lighting up every few minutes with notifications. Instagram, Facebook, and something called Retreat Connect that I'd never heard of. When her breathing settled into the deep rhythm of sleep, I carefully picked up her phone. No password. Another sign of her confidence in my stupidity. The Retreat Connect app opened to a stream of messages between Rachel and someone called SR Marina Services. The most recent exchange made my stomach turn like spoiled milk. SR Marina Services. Can't wait for our next wellness session. The yacht is prepped and ready. Rachel? Same here. Brady's working late on the Patterson project all week, so we'll have plenty of time for deep relaxation. SR Marina Services. I've got some new stress relief techniques I want to try with you. Rachel, I'm always open to new experiences. BTW, did you get those photos I sent from last weekend? SR Marina Services. Amazing shots. You look incredible in that bikini. Can't wait to see you wearing it again. Rachel. Or not wearing it. I set the phone down with shaking hands. Not angry yet, just disappointed. Like when you order a ribeye and get served hamburger helper, except The hamburger helper was my marriage, and the ribeye was everything I thought I knew about my wife. The messages went back months, dozens of exchanges about private yacht charters, weekend getaways, and activities that had nothing to do with hiking or wellness retreats. There were photos too, Rachel on luxury yachts, sipping champagne at expensive restaurants, lounging on private beaches that definitely weren't camping sites. The next morning, Rachel was all sunshine and artisanal coffee, chattering about her upcoming retreat while buttering toast, like she hadn't been sexting a marina owner 12 hours earlier. "I've got that extended wellness weekend coming up," she said, not meeting my eyes. "Probably won't be back until Monday evening. We're trying this new immersive experience thing. With Ashley and Nicole? Of course with Ashley and Nicole. It's our sisterhood bonding time." She paused, studying my face. "You're not getting weird about this, are you? Because possessiveness is really toxic, Brady." I wanted to laugh or scream. Instead, I sipped my coffee and shrugged. "Not possessive, just curious about these immersive experiences. Seems like unusual accommodations for nature lovers." "It's a boutique retreat center, very exclusive. You wouldn't understand the holistic approach." She was right about that last part. I didn't understand how my wife had turned into a lying stranger, or how I'd become the punchline in my own life story. After she left for work, I called my buddy Cole. He's been running the Marina Bar for 10 years, which makes him an expert in human nature and bad decisions. "You need evidence, not suspicions," he said after I explained the situation. "Gut feelings don't hold up in divorce court." "Who said anything about divorce?" "Brady, buddy, your wife is playing hide the anchor with some Marina Romeo. What did you think was going to happen? Couples therapy?" He had a point, but first I needed to know exactly what I was dealing with. That evening I decided to do some investigating. Rachel had taken her car to her exclusive retreat center, but she'd forgotten to clear the GPS history. According to the navigation system, her last destination wasn't a wellness retreat at all. It was the Lakeside Grande Resort, a 5-star hotel with 400 per night rooms. I sat in my driveway staring at the GPS screen, feeling like the biggest fool in Central Texas. Then I opened our shared banking app and found the smoking gun, a $847 charge at the Lakeside Grande, dated the same weekend Rachel claimed to be sleeping in a tent. Guess wellness retreats now include room service and Egyptian cotton sheets. But that was just the beginning. 8 months of statements revealed a pattern that made my blood boil. Monthly charges at luxury hotels, expensive restaurants, marina fees, and something called Rodriguez Premium Boat Rentals that appeared like clockwork every first weekend of the month. The next morning, I woke up with a clarity that surprised me. No more self-pity, no more denial. If Rachel and her marina mystery man wanted to play games, I'd show them how a construction foreman approaches problem solving. Step 1. Gather intelligence. I started by visiting every marina between Austin and Lake Travis. Didn't take long to find Rodriguez Premium Boat Rentals. Shane Rodriguez, 35 years old, owner of a high-end yacht charter service. The guy was a walking advertisement for testosterone supplements, posting shirtless yacht selfies with captions like, "Living the lake life," and "Success is the only option." His Instagram stories were a goldmine. Daily schedules, client meetings, even the coffee shop where he held his business consultations. More importantly, I found photos of his yacht, a sleek 45-footer called Liquid Assets that probably cost more than my house. The comment sections were even more revealing. Dozens of married women leaving heart eye emojis and suggestive comments. This wasn't Rachel's first rodeo, and she definitely wasn't Shane's only client receiving special attention. Cole met me at the Marina Bar that evening to discuss strategy. The place was nearly empty. Just a couple of weekend warriors nursing beers and complaining about gas prices. "So what's the plan?" Cole asked, sliding a bourbon across the bar. "You gonna confront them, hire a lawyer, burn the yacht down?" "Something more methodical," I said. "Shane's whole identity is built on his image. Marina playboy, successful entrepreneur, alpha male. What happens when that image gets exposed for what it really is? Depends on how thoroughly you expose it. Thoroughly enough to destroy everything he's built." The next phase required field work. I started showing up at Rodriguez Premium Boat Rentals during business hours, posing as a potential client interested in chartering a yacht for my construction company's annual party. The marina was everything you'd expect from a guy overcompensating for something. Oversized yachts, overpriced day rates, and an office decorated like a sports bar crossed with a yacht club. Shane was exactly what I'd pictured. Fake tan, protein powder physique, and the kind of confidence that only comes from never facing real consequences. He spent more time taking selfies than actually working, leaving the real boat maintenance to his underpaid crew. It didn't take much conversation to learn that the staff had opinions about their boss. "Guy's a liability waiting to happen," muttered Gary, the head mechanic, while changing oil on a pontoon boat. "Shows up when he feels like it, disappears for client meetings that last all day, and don't get me started on his special charter services." Special charter services? Gary looked around to make sure Shane wasn't within earshot. "Let's just say he's very accommodating to certain female clients. VIP treatment, if you know what I mean. Charges them triple the normal rate for personalized experiences." Personalized how? Use your imagination? Guys running what amounts to a floating escort service, but calling it yacht charters. Half these rich housewives think they're paying for luxury boat rides, but they're really paying for Shane's personal attention. That was interesting. Very interesting. Does he keep records of these special charters? Everything goes through the booking system. Has to, for insurance purposes. But he's got a separate set of books for the VIP clients. Keeps those locked in his office safe. Over the next week, I made it my business to learn everything about Rodriguez Premium Boat Rentals. Business licenses, insurance policies, tax records, client lists. Shane had been sloppy with his paperwork, probably because he thought his charm would carry him through any official scrutiny. He was wrong about that. I also started documenting his daily routine. Shane was a creature of habit, arriving at the marina around 10 a.m., taking long lunch breaks at the waterfront restaurant, and usually clearing out by 4 p.m. unless he had an evening charter. On Fridays, he stayed late preparing for his weekend VIP experiences. The breakthrough came when I befriended Danny, the night security guard at the marina. 22 years old, college kid working his way through business school, and tired of watching Shane treat people like garbage while getting rich off what Danny called barely legal escort services. "You want to know what really goes on here?" Danny asked during one of our casual conversations. "I've got security footage of things that would make your head spin. That guy's been running scams for years, and nobody's ever called him on it." "What kind of scams?" "Insurance fraud, for starters. Claims boats got damaged during normal charters, then charges the clients for repairs that never happened. Double books time slots and pockets the extra cash. And the VIP thing," Danny shook his head. "Let's just say if the IRS ever audited his books, he'd be in federal prison before Christmas." That gave me an idea. A very specific, very thorough idea about how to handle Shane Rodriguez. "Danny, hypothetically speaking, if someone wanted to report suspicious business practices to the appropriate authorities, what kind of evidence would they need?" Danny's grin told me everything I needed to know. Hypothetically, they'd need detailed financial records, video evidence of fraudulent activities, and maybe some testimony from employees who've witnessed illegal behavior. But that's just hypothetically speaking. Of course, purely hypothetical. The pieces were falling into place. Shane Rodriguez had built his little empire on fraud, tax evasion, and what amounted to prostitution disguised as yacht charters. All I had to do was document everything properly and let the legal system do what I couldn't do myself. But first, I needed one final piece of evidence, something that would tie Rachel directly to Shane's operation and prove beyond any doubt what had been going on during her monthly wellness retreats. Something that would end this charade once and for all. The opportunity came sooner than expected. Rachel announced another wellness retreat for the following weekend, her voice carrying that familiar fake enthusiasm as she packed her designer luggage. "This one's going to be extra special," she said, folding clothes that cost more than most people's monthly salary. 3 days of intensive spiritual cleansing and relationship healing. Ashley thinks it might help me figure out some things about my life path. The irony wasn't lost on me. She was about to discover exactly what her life path looked like when it collided with reality. "Relationship healing?" I asked, keeping my voice neutral. "Anything specific you're working through?" "Just general stuff. You know, how marriage can get routine. Sometimes you need outside perspective to appreciate what you have." What she had was about to disappear faster than ice cream at a church picnic, but I just nodded and wished her a good trip. Friday morning, Danny texted me from the marina. "Your wife just showed up. She's boarding liquid assets with Shane. They're heading out for a 3-day charter. Perfect timing for what we discussed." I met Danny at the marina office after hours. He'd already pulled the security footage from the past 6 months, showing Rachel arriving alone every first Friday, staying through Sunday, and leaving with the satisfied glow of someone who'd spent the weekend being pampered. "Look at this," Danny said, pointing at the computer screen. June 15th, Rachel arrives at 2 p.m. Shane's got the yacht stocked with champagne, roses, the whole romantic setup. She stays on board until Sunday evening. How much is he charging her for these weekends? Danny pulled up the billing records. $1,500 per weekend, listed as premium 3-day charter with personalized services. But look at what he charges other clients for the same boat. The standard 3-day charter rate was $800. Shane was charging Rachel almost double for his personal attention. "He's been overcharging her for months," I said. "That's fraud. Gets better. Check this out." Danny opened another file. Shane's been claiming these weekends as business expenses, fuel, food, dock fees, everything. But he's also charging Rachel for the same expenses, double dipping on everything. That was tax fraud, federal tax fraud. "And here's the kicker," Danny continued. "Shane's been telling the IRS these are legitimate business charters, but look at the activity reports he files with the marina. The reports showed liquid assets leaving the dock Friday afternoon and returning Sunday evening, but with 0 passengers listed. According to Shane's official paperwork, he was taking solo trips every month while billing a client for charter services. Insurance fraud," I said. "If something happened to that boat with an unreported passenger on board, the insurance company would deny any claims." "Exactly. And since Rachel's paying cash for everything, there's no official record of her being a client. If she got hurt out there, she'd have no legal recourse." Danny had done his homework. The evidence was damning, comprehensive, and completely legitimate. Shane Rodriguez wasn't just cheating with my wife. He was running a criminal operation disguised as a yacht charter business. "How many other women is he doing this with?" I asked. "At least 6 that I can document, maybe more. Same pattern every time. Married women, cash payments, off-the-books services, fraudulent billing. The guy's been running this scam for over 2 years. That gave me an idea. If Shane had been defrauding multiple clients, their husbands deserved to know what their wives were really paying for. More importantly, if enough victims came forward, the authorities would have to take action. "I need copies of everything," I said. "Financial records, security footage, billing statements, the works. And I need contact information for Shane's other VIP clients." Danny handed me a flash drive. "Already done. Everything's on here, including email addresses for the other wives. Most of them use their real names when booking, probably because they think they're paying for legitimate yacht charters." That weekend, while Rachel was off getting her spiritual cleansing, I put together a comprehensive dossier on Shane Rodriguez's operation: financial fraud, tax evasion, insurance violations, and operating what amounted to an unlicensed escort service. The evidence was ironclad. I also drafted carefully worded emails to the other wives, explaining what their husband's money was really paying for. Not accusations, just facts. Security footage timestamps, billing records, and Danny's witness testimony about Shane's VIP services. By Sunday afternoon, I had everything I needed to destroy Shane Rodriguez's business, reputation, and freedom. But I wanted to give Rachel one last chance to come clean before I pulled the trigger. She came home Sunday evening, glowing like she'd spent the weekend at an actual spa, designer tan, professional manicure, and that satisfied smile of someone who'd been thoroughly pampered. "How was the retreat?" I asked, watching her unpack clothes that somehow managed to stay perfectly clean during 3 days of wilderness camping. "Amazing. Really transformative. I feel like I've reconnected with parts of myself I'd forgotten existed." "That's wonderful. What kind of activities did you do?" "Oh, meditation, yoga, some hiking. Ashley and Nicole really pushed me to explore new experiences." I decided to test her commitment to the lie. "That's interesting. I tried calling Ashley yesterday to see if you'd left anything at our house, but she said she hasn't seen you in months." Rachel's face went through several expressions before settling on indignant confusion. "That's weird. Maybe you called the wrong Ashley. I have 2 friends with that name." I called the Ashley from college, the one who's supposedly been going on these retreats with you. Well, obviously there was some confusion. Maybe she was busy and didn't want to be bothered about my personal business. Even when caught in an obvious lie, Rachel doubled down. It was almost impressive in its audacity. "You're right," I said. Must have been a misunderstanding. But inside, I was done. No more chances, no more benefit of the doubt. Rachel had chosen her path, and now she was going to walk it all the way to the end. Monday morning, I started making phone calls. The IRS fraud hotline, the Texas Department of Insurance, the Coast Guard, and the Travis County District Attorney's Office. Each agency got a complete copy of Danny's evidence, along with my contact information as a cooperating witness. The dominoes were set up. Time to start pushing them over. The response was faster than I expected. Tuesday afternoon, I got a call from Agent Patricia Hernandez with the IRS Criminal Investigation Division. "Mr. Matthews, we've reviewed the evidence you submitted regarding Rodriguez Premium Boat Rentals. This appears to be a significant case of tax fraud and money laundering. We'd like to schedule an interview." Wednesday morning, I met Agent Hernandez at a coffee shop in downtown Austin. She was exactly what you'd expect from a federal investigator. Sharp suit, sharper eyes, and the kind of focused intensity that comes from hunting financial criminals for a living. "The evidence your source provided is extensive," she said, spreading Danny's documentation across the table. "Multiple counts of tax evasion, insurance fraud, unreported income, and what appears to be operating an unlicensed escort service through maritime channels. How long before you can act on it? We're coordinating with local law enforcement and the Coast Guard. Rodriguez has been flying under the radar for years, but this level of documentation makes prosecution almost guaranteed. We'll move within the week." That afternoon, I got similar calls from the Coast Guard and the DA's office. Shane's operation was about to face scrutiny from multiple agencies simultaneously. There would be no escape, no plea bargaining, no rich lawyer making problems disappear. Thursday evening, Rachel announced another weekend retreat. "This one's really important," she said, packing with unusual urgency. "Shane thinks I'm ready for some advanced spiritual work. He's offering a special intensive session." I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. "That sounds expensive." "It's an investment in personal growth. Besides, we can afford it." Actually, we couldn't. I'd been tracking our finances for months, watching Rachel drain our savings account to pay for Shane's services. $1,500 every month, plus restaurants, hotels, and shopping trips that Shane probably encouraged to increase his cut of the operation. "How much is this advanced session going to cost?" $2,000, but it's a 3-day private intensive, very exclusive. $2,000 for a weekend of adultery. Shane was getting greedy, which meant he was getting desperate. According to Danny's research, several of Shane's VIP clients had stopped coming around in recent months. Maybe their husbands had started asking questions, or maybe they'd simply gotten tired of paying premium prices for what amounted to prostitution with a nautical theme. Friday morning, Rachel left for her final retreat. I watched her BMW disappear around the corner, knowing it would be the last time she drove away from our house as my wife. At 10 a.m., Agent Hernandez called with an update. "We're moving today. Coast Guard and local police are coordinating a boarding operation for this afternoon. Your wife's presence on the yacht actually helps our case. It establishes the illegal nature of Rodriguez's operation." What happens to Rachel? She's a victim as much as a participant. Rodriguez has been defrauding her along with the others. Unless we find evidence she was aware of the illegal nature of the operation, she'll likely face minimal charges. That was generous. Rachel knew exactly what she was paying for. But I wasn't going to argue with federal agents about prosecution strategy. The raid happened at 2 p.m. According to Danny, who watched from the marina office, it was thoroughly professional and completely humiliating. Coast Guard cutters surrounded liquid assets while federal agents swarmed the marina. Shane Rodriguez was arrested on deck, wearing nothing but swim trunks and handcuffs, while Rachel was escorted off the yacht in a bathrobe by female officers. Local news crews arrived within hours. The story was too good to ignore. Wealthy marina owner arrested for tax fraud and operating floating escort service. Multiple victims, federal investigation, yacht seizures. Shane's mugshot was all over social media before the sun set. Rachel called me from the police station at 6 p.m. Brady, I need you to come get me. There's been a terrible misunderstanding. What kind of misunderstanding? The police think Shane was running some kind of illegal business. They arrested both of us, but it's all a mistake. I was just a client. A client for what services exactly? Silence on the line. Even Rachel couldn't find a way to spin yacht charters into wellness retreats anymore. Just come get me, please. I'm afraid I can't do that. What do you mean you can't? I'm your wife. You were my wife, past tense. I hung up and drove to Cole's bar. The evening news was already running the story, complete with aerial footage of federal agents searching Shane's yacht and perp walks that would haunt both Shane and Rachel for years to come. Damn, Cole said, watching Shane's arrest on the bar TV. They got him good. They got both of them. The other husbands I'd contacted were starting to surface. 3 of them had filed for divorce within 24 hours of receiving my emails. 2 more were meeting with lawyers. Shane's VIP client list was about to become Exhibit A in multiple divorce proceedings. But the real satisfaction came Saturday morning when the Austin American-Statesman ran a front-page story about the Marina investigation. The headline read, "Federal Agents Bust Luxury Yacht Fraud Ring." The subheading was even better. "Local business owner charged with tax evasion, operating unlicensed escort service." Rachel's name wasn't mentioned in the article, but her photo appeared in several of the seized evidence pictures. Social media did. The rest, identifying her as one of Shane's regular clients and connecting the dots between her real estate career and her extracurricular activities. By Sunday, Rachel's boss had called an emergency meeting. By Monday, she was suspended pending investigation into whether her real estate license should be revoked for moral turpitude. Shane Rodriguez was looking at federal prison time, asset forfeiture, and the kind of reputation damage that follows you forever. His yacht business was finished, his client list was evidence in multiple criminal cases, and his marina lease was being terminated for operating illegal activities on the premises. Justice, it turned out, was more satisfying than revenge. It was thorough, permanent, and completely legal. The divorce papers were filed Tuesday morning. Rachel tried to contest them, claiming temporary insanity and demanding half of everything we owned. Her lawyer lasted exactly 1 meeting before withdrawing from the case, citing irreconcilable differences in legal strategy. Turns out family court judges don't look favorably on spouses who drain joint savings accounts to pay for illegal yacht services while lying about wellness retreats. Rachel's credibility was shot, her reputation was destroyed, and her legal position was weaker than wet tissue paper. The evidence I'd gathered made the proceedings remarkably swift. 8 months of bank statements showing regular payments to Shane's operation, GPS data proving her lies about retreat locations, and testimony from marina employees about her true activities. Rachel's lawyer, the second one who agreed to represent her, advised taking whatever settlement I offered and disappearing quietly. I was generous. She got her personal belongings, her car, and enough money to start over somewhere far from Austin. In return, she signed a non-disclosure agreement, a non-compete clause preventing her from working in Texas real estate, and a waiver of any claim to our house, my business, or our joint assets. The house felt different after she moved out. Not empty, but cleaner somehow. Like removing a stain you'd gotten used to living with until you realized how much better everything looked without it. Shane Rodriguez wasn't as fortunate. Federal prosecutors threw the book at him. Tax evasion, wire fraud, operating an unlicensed business, money laundering, and about 6 other charges that carried serious prison time. His assets were seized, his business dissolved, and his yacht became government property pending the resolution of forfeiture proceedings. The other victims came forward one by one. Martha Williamson, whose husband divorced her after learning she'd spent their anniversary fund on Shane's VIP services. Jennifer Chen, who lost her teaching job when the school district discovered her involvement in the scandal. Lisa Rodriguez, no relation to Shane, unfortunately, whose husband filed for custody of their children citing moral unfitness. Each victim strengthened the prosecutor's case against Shane while demolishing any sympathy the public might have had for the women involved. These weren't naive tourists who got scammed. They were willing participants in an operation they knew was fraudulent and immoral. Danny got a reward from the IRS for his whistleblower testimony, $50,000 for providing evidence that led to successful prosecution of a major tax fraud case. He used the money to finish business school and opened his own marina security company. Last I heard, he was making good money, helping other marinas identify and prevent the kind of scams Shane had been running. Cole framed the newspaper articles about Shane's arrest and hung them behind the bar at Murphy's. Greatest comeback story in marina history, he called it, though I never thought of it as a comeback. More like a controlled demolition, followed by careful reconstruction. The community rallied around me in ways I hadn't expected. Construction clients who had heard about the scandal made a point of recommending my services to friends. The marina offered me a permanent slip for my restored boats at a significant discount. Even Mrs. Patterson from down the street brought me casseroles and asked if I needed help with yard work. "You handled that whole situation like a gentleman," she said one evening, delivering homemade cornbread. "Could have gotten ugly, but you did everything the right way." The right way. That's what separated me from guys like Shane Rodriguez. When life handed me a problem, I solved it methodically, legally, and permanently. No shortcuts, no violence, no dramatic gestures that would have made me look as bad as the people I was fighting. 6 months later, Shane was sentenced to 4 years in federal prison and ordered to pay $200,000 in restitution to his victims. His lawyer argued for leniency, claiming Shane was a victim of his own success who'd made poor business decisions rather than criminal choices. The judge wasn't buying it. Mr. Rodriguez operated a sophisticated criminal enterprise designed to defraud both the government and private citizens, she said during sentencing. The court finds no evidence of remorse or acknowledgement of wrongdoing. Rachel attended the sentencing hearing, sitting in the back row wearing dark sunglasses and a baseball cap. She looked like she'd aged 10 years and 6 months. Her real estate license had been permanently revoked, her professional reputation was destroyed, and she was working as a server at some chain restaurant in San Antonio. After the hearing, she approached me in the courthouse parking garage. "Are you happy now?" she asked. "You destroyed both our lives." "I didn't destroy anything. You made choices, and choices have consequences. Shane was right about you. You're cold, calculating, and vindictive. Shane's in federal prison. I'm not sure his character assessments carry much weight anymore." She walked away without another word. I never saw her again. A year later, I married Sarah, a marine biologist who appreciated honest work and honest men. We met at the marina where she was conducting research on Lake Travis water quality. She knew the whole story about Rachel and Shane, but didn't judge me for it. "You did what any reasonable person would do," she said. "You gathered evidence, followed proper procedures, and let justice take its course. That takes more strength than most people have." Our wedding was small, held at the marina with Cole officiating and Danny providing security. Mrs. Patterson brought enough food to feed half of Austin. The restored Chris Craft served as our honeymoon yacht, cruising the same waters where Shane Rodriguez once ran his criminal operation. These days, I still work construction and restore boats. The business is better than ever, built on reputation rather than deception. Sarah and I are talking about starting a family, maybe teaching our kids the difference between honest work and easy money. Sometimes I think about Rachel and wonder if she ever learned anything from the experience. Probably not. People like her and Shane don't learn from consequences. They just find new ways to blame other people for their problems. But that's not my concern anymore. I fixed what was broken, removed what was toxic, and built something better in its place. That's what construction workers do. We tear down the damaged structures and build new ones that last. And this time, I built it to last forever.